Elizabeth Mbogo Mwenda, co-founder Botanic Treasures. And at Botanic Treasures, we are incentivizing farmers to grow for us useful trees like moringa, neem, baobab, and we are taking some of this produce, and we've developed a range of products. We discovered moringa because I had a real problem. So I got my baby and I didn't have breast milk. My husband they were actually rolling out an organic product into the market. So they'd gone to see some farmers. And he went and asked them, the locals, they were a bit elderly, if there's a solution for increasing breast milk. So he was like, okay, so how do you use it? They said, yeah, we do have a powder. So he just came home with a little paper bag with some moringa powder. So I added it to soup. I had it in porridge. Within hours, I was literally a fresh young. So to imagine that, within hours, I had a cup on one breast and the baby was choking on the other breast. The same baby who was screaming throughout because the milk was not enough. Oh, it was amazing. I got my dignity back. Suddenly the house was full of joy and everyone was excited, So I went back to work 6 months later and I just kept thinking, no, this is something I need to share with other women. I saw it as an opportunity. I decided, let me go to wild agroforestry. I went, I got Dr. Anne Wambora. She gave me a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, how to even just go and roll it out in the community. We really had a very extensive talk. From there, I went to Calro, then it was Kari. And I got Dr. Lusike, who had also interacted with the tree, and we now started, working how to do about it. I was connected to Minister of Agriculture. Now I started going around the country with the national shows. We did seedlings. Now we started educating farmers. So when we began, we began in our home. We actually began on the dining table. And a lot of people who were in that space, they used to do blends that they don't tell you what it is. It was like, enda ukunywe itakusaidia kwa magoti, just take this. But there is nothing to show what the ingredient is. And so, because of that, there was a stigma. So we figured, let's introduce this as standalone products and start there. So now we went on just developing products that we felt and feedback from the customer that is something they would want to, and we would educate them because knowledge is power. So as we educated them, then they saw the value in what we were producing and they became our customers. At that time is when Ongoza had the call for women in climate, and we applied and we were one of the 10 selected female-led businesses in the climate space. And then we got into the program and we went through everything from investment, how to run your business, the marketing aspect. I mean, it was a whole, couple of months of just training and going through our business in depth to understand our financials, how to come up with budgets, because as businesses, I need packaging. Get packaging. Next week, there's a raw material missing. The other week, it's end month, pay workers. Then, meet your bills. But to actually sit back and say, okay, this year, this is what we want to achieve. We have looked at, for the last couple of years, the business has been growing this way, so we'll need this amount of money to be able to meet our packaging needs, to be able to meet our raw material needs, whether it's in irrigation, whether it's in, some new technology you want to apply. Maybe we need to improve the dryer, we need this new gadget. So just to be able to think through the business, and those are stories we used to hear, and you'd think, this is just for those big businesses, who have a lot of cash flow and they have even surplus. But through Ongoza, we're able to actually now sit back and analyze the business and say, okay, we need to start running the business professionally. So it's very exciting, just seeing how much coming into the Ongoza space has benefited us as a company. Yeah, it's really grown us. We've also now had to increase the human resource, more so at the farm, and it's incredible because a season like now, we would normally be out of moringa, would have gone to every farmer that we have inducted, because we only deal with farmers that we have trained, because they understand our standards, and every one of them would be supplying, because we would not have enough moringa. Through Ongoza, we do so. We have water. We're able to produce more leaf. We have like 4 dryers now. In fact, there are 5. We now are able to produce enough to dry and high quality of moringa, and now we're able to meet our orders, which is really good. So it has also increased our cash flows. We have grown.
Elizabeth is so passionate about her business. She's a walking billboard of Botanic Treasures. And what drives her is not sales, is lifestyle, improving lifestyles. And I think that is at the core of who Botanic Treasures is. They are improving lifestyles from the farmer to the buyer, to the consumer. So we went through the training just like the other AWCE women. What they really wanted out of it was, we need a financial plan. We need to do our projections. We need to know, where do we put our money? Where do we focus our resources on? We need a plan, because I think that was the thing that was missing. And so that's what we did. We just planned. So we walked them through a financial plan through one of our growth partners, and we did do a 5-year plan. And I think we can say, or I can say on behalf of Ongoza, that we have seen them implement that successfully, because there's been subsequent funding that has come in for Botanic Treasures, and that's the plan they have been using to say, okay, so this is what we need to do. This is where the money will go. This is how we need to invest. So I think they had a very good investment plan. In fact, let's call it that. They have, I think, a very strong investment plan that they were able to get from Ongoza, and it becomes the guiding tool that helps them make their business decisions, just to make sure the money is being utilized where it should be, to make sure that they're able to meet, like I said, their goals.
So now the community is beginning to appreciate that they can actually have a vegetable all year round, that they can have a cash crop, because once their maize fails and the beans fail, or once they are harvesting, when the rains are able to actually take them through until the crop has matured, now they're beginning to see, but even in dry season, we have something to sell. So now we are putting them into groups, and we look forward to actually changing that whole terrain, because during COVID, the peasant farmers, they had their sons and daughters in the urban centers. They're also cash strapped, so they were not able to send them money. So what do? They turn to charcoal burning. So a lot of the hills in the area we are in the Rakanidi, they have cut. There are even mountain fires, because the place is now so dry. And when we saw this at the onset, we just started buying tamarind, because there were there's a lot of tamarind trees in that area. So we started buying tamarind, and we developed a drink, which is fermented moringa and tamarind. So as they were bringing the tamarind and getting paid, it became a source of income for them. So now they're not able to cut the tamarind. We also noticed there's baobab in the area, so we buy the baobab. We noticed there's neem in the area, just growing wild. We're now buying the neem and developing products with it. So not only are we, the livelihood of this community, their bargaining power, they are able to meet their basic needs, they're able to educate their children because of the income, the growth of income. Now they're extending, they're planting more. TA for onboarding these farmers is something that would really appreciate support from Ongoza. Would want to have more dryers, satellite dryers, where and we've done it before in Meru, where we have farmers in each area coming together, 10, 15, as conveniently possible, and they have a leader and their chairperson or chair lady or whatever, that we build a dryer there. We co-own that dryer, and they employ one person to do the drying, because drying is sensitive in terms of handling, in terms of just the clothing, how to work the foot baths and all that. So it's very important to have those satellite dryers, so that they have skin in the game. They appreciate that this dryer is just not here as a monument. We have to ensure that it's drying and bringing us an income. And then there's the aspect of irrigation. This farmer only has one pipe going into the shamba. Can we bring on board some support where they're able to be helped to maybe buy 2 more or 3 more, so that they're not only irrigating an acre, but they can irrigate 3, 4, 5. And that would mean there is more production, and that would mean there is more raw material, and these families and communities begin to be economically stable. When it rains, the farm suddenly becomes a forest, like thick forest. You can barely walk through, of moringa. And the dryers, again, it's overcast, so you're not able to dry as fast. And so sometimes the moringa just ends up falling on the ground. Thank God, it just fertilizes the soil. But we would want to have this moringa, so a cooling facility where we're just able to put the moringa there would be amazing. Also, we've been looking at venturing into freeze drying, bulk freeze drying, where now we are not dependent on the sun, because if it's overcast we cannot do solar drying. So we need to expand to freeze drying, so that now we are able to not have any losses or any waste of moringa going forward. We are at Moi Avenue, Sonalax House. There is Sonalax and Contrast House, and down the corridor between those 2 buildings, we are in the 4th shop. You will see this bright, beautiful space with amazing products in it, and you will be served, and the product will be delivered. We are very grateful.